Good day and welcome to Mission Control Houston. Today is Monday, November 4, 2013, and this is Space Station Live. Today in Mission Control, the team of flight controllers is being led by Flight Director Scott Stover. He's working with Canadian astronaut David Saint-Jacques, who is serving as spacecraft communicator, talking with the crew of Expedition 37 aboard the International Space Station. That crew includes Commander Fyodor Yurchikhin, as well as American astronauts Karen Nyberg and Mike Hopkins, and European Space Agency astronaut Luca Parmitano, and cosmonauts Sergei Rezhnansky and Oleg Kotov. The crew of Expedition 37 is conducting research and getting ready for the arrival of Expedition 38 crewmates on Thursday, as well as for a spacewalk on Saturday. NASA astronaut Karen Nyberg, Commander Yurchikhin, and ESA's Parmitano are packing and stowing items in preparation for their Sunday departure. Among those items are the fan pump separator from Luca Parmitano's spacesuit that has been the subject of much troubleshooting after water collected in Luca's helmet and required an early end to a spacewalk with Chris Cassidy. Yurchikhin is taking special precautions in packing that item to ensure its condition remains pristine so that engineers on the ground can examine it once it returns. Meanwhile, Mike Hopkins and Russia's Oleg Kotov and Sergei Rezhnansky are doing work on a variety of Russian and American research activities, as well as preparing for the upcoming spacewalk by Kotov and Rezhnansky, who did a translation review of their movements about the exterior of the space station. Hopkins is working with the Synchronized Position, Hold, Engage, Reorient Experimental Satellites experiment. We're seeing a live video of that right now as it works with the RINGS component of that experiment. RINGS is short for Resonant Inductive Near Field Generation System. It's a Department of Defense experiment designed to demonstrate and test wireless power transfers. The floating bowling ball-sized satellite is encapsulated in a ring that will also be used to study techniques related to microelectromagnetic formation flight. It may also help enhance attitude control performance between separate satellites in the future. Parmitano worked with the in-space, the structure of paramagnetic aggregates from colloidal emulsions study that looks at particle dynamics of magnetorheological fluids, that is, fluids that change properties in response to magnetic fields, to help understand how those fluids can be used for new applications such as braking systems and robotics. Yurchikhin also went through a training session on the lower body negative pressure device that'll be used to help pull fluids back into his lower extremities after his long duration stay on the space station and get his body ready for a return to one gravity on Earth. That's a countermeasure device and method that's been studied for years on various spacecraft. Kotov and Rezhnansky worked on the preparation of two Orlan spacesuits that will be used in their Saturday spacewalk, which will involve several assembly and maintenance tasks on the outside of the space station, and also involve the display of an Olympic torch outside the station that will be returning home with Yurchikhin, Nyberg, and Parmitano, and eventually make its way to the 2014 Winter Olympic Games in Sochi, Russia. The rundown on launch of EVA coverage coming up for this week includes a PAO event tomorrow. That will be an event with Karen Nyberg and Mike Hopkins. They'll be talking with the Weather Channel and KSDK Television in St. Louis. That event will start at 8:15 a.m. Central Time, 9:15 a.m. Eastern. Then coming up later on in the week, we'll have the preparations for launch coverage from Baikonur. Launch coverage on Wednesday starts at 9:15 p.m. With launch expected at 10:14 p.m. And then the day will cross over and we'll move into Thursday, November 7th, and Soyuz docking coverage begin at 3:45 a.m. with docking of the Soyuz carrying three crew members that are headed up to the space station, Mikhail Turin, Rick Mastracchio, and Koichi Wakata, to the International Space Station. That docking coverage will then be followed by a joint crew news conference with, for the first time since 2009, 9 crew members aboard the International Space Station. That crew news conference is scheduled for 7:50 a.m. Central Time. on Friday, November the 8th. And then on Saturday, November the 9th, we'll have coverage of the Russian spacewalk number 36 with Kotov and Rosansky, and that coverage begins at 8 a.m. Central Time. Again, all that coming up on NASA television. Meanwhile, overnight, the Albert Einstein ATV-4 was deorbited at 6:28 a.m. Saturday Central Time, and it broke up over the Pacific Ocean shortly after 4 a.m. Central Time in a normal deorbit maneuver conducted by European Space Agency flight controllers in Toulouse, France. This is video recorded by the crew aboard the International Space Station of that breakup. There is one more ATV in the fleet. The final ATV-5 is scheduled for launch no earlier than June 5 of next year, and it's named Georges Lemaitre after the Belgian physicist and father of the Big Bang Theory. Otherwise, all systems working aboard the International Space Station as it continues to circle the globe, supporting research in the unique microgravity environment.